Y'all smoke.
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Game day up on the hill. Arkansas basketball in action tonight. Got the late tip against the South Dakota Yotes. Don't call them the Coyotes when you're up at Bud Walton Arena today. My friend Ty Richardson in the studios will be joining us up on the hill for tip-off. I think John Neighbors is going to be up here. We're going to have quite a bit of the gang of ESPN Arkansas up at the basketball game. You know, an interesting thing, Arkansas football allowing 36.2 points per game, Arkansas basketball allowing 45.8 points per game. Usually defensive numbers as far as scoring defense for basketball and football are not that close, but when you're one of the worst defenses in the nation, in which Arkansas football has been this year, and as of right now in just 4 games, Arkansas basketball is one of the best defensive teams in the nation. It makes it it's not much of a spread. It's like a 7-point difference between the two defenses. And I saw a couple of my friends that host in Little Rock asked the question. It's different than the question you want to pose, Ty, to our listeners today.
Yeah.
Who scores more points, South Dakota basketball or LSU football? And honestly, I think you're going to get a pretty good basketball game tonight. You're going to face a South Dakota team that's scoring nearly 80 points per game. And we've already gotten into the fact that they're a great three-point shooting team, but they're just a really good shooting team overall. One interesting piece of this game. So Arkansas has allowed 8 3-pointers total this season. And the big guy for South Dakota, Tyler Hagedorn, the 6'10", he's not just a post player because he's a three-point ace. He hit 8 3-pointers in one game against Texas Southern. He had 8 3-pointers on 8 attempts. It's pretty ridiculous. The guy's made 16 of 19 3-pointers, and that's one of 2 players for South Dakota that are shooting over 62%. From behind the 3-point line. So
he's shooting like 82, I think.
Yeah, it's 84.2% is what Hagedorn is shooting. So interesting to see these football and basketball stats should never really go together that closely. But I think you'll get a really good game tonight. I don't think it's going to be, blowout city from which you've seen each year. I mean, Arkansas's closest win has been what, 23 points, 22 points against Montana. So I think you're going to get a good game tonight. South Dakota's got some depth. They've got size. They got a big guy who can shoot. They've got a big guy that can rebound. They got 4 scorers averaging 10 points or more. You do have a common opponent between these two teams. Arkansas and South Dakota both played Texas Southern, and Texas Southern didn't hang with South Dakota, and they certainly didn't hang with Arkansas. So that's an 8 o'clock tip. Of course, we'll have it right here on ESPN Arkansas, 7:30 for the pregame show with Chuck and Matt Z. And then tomorrow, what is it, a 6 o'clock kickoff for Arkansas LSU? That'll get Arkansas game day going at 1. And I was supposed to be on Hog Reaction, but Tommy Kraft letting me cancel that. I'm headed. We're gonna have a big weekend. Never mind what's going on with Arkansas football. I get to go out to the West Coast, to the Bay Area, Arkansas and Cal in a women's basketball game on Sunday, and I've been invited to go see Hamilton with Mike Neighbors, and I'm assuming at least a couple of the other coaches at the world-famous Orpheum Theater in San Francisco tomorrow night. So, I mean, this just happened over the last couple of hours, and it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime chance to go see the biggest stage production in the country for a long time now. Never had a chance to see it, and why would I pass that up to co-host Hog Reaction after Arkansas gets blown out by LSU?
Yeah, just not blown out by 45 plus.
I know, and hey, look, Ty decided back on Monday. Heck, I think you decided on Sunday when the line opened at 46 that you were going to make Arkansas LSU your Moneyball pick. So I mean, I know the answer to whether or not he's done that, and I think our loyal halftimers know Ty is a man of his word. He probably is not going against that word, but we'll have our picks later on in the show, in the very last segment. What do you think the score is going to be? 877-377-6963. The Cherokee Casino hotline will take your calls and texts up until 2 o'clock. Did you really put this poll question out there?
Yeah, it's going to.
So go ahead and talk. What's the reasoning behind this halftime poll question, in which our listeners can get to Twitter and answer it for us?
Well, I'm wondering.
And make sure you tag Tommy Kraft on your answer.
Oh, I did. It's going to be posted 12:15 on both Twitter and Facebook at Hit That Line AR. I'm wondering. I think we need to mention this every single segment, so at one point Tommy will listen, because he's always listened to the show.
Oh, he's listening. There's no doubt.
So the halftime poll question I have here for us is: should Tommy expense Phil and Ty's drinks tonight on Dixon if Arkansas beats South Dakota? And I think
now, isn't John Neighbors going to be there too?
Supposedly, he's not. He's feeling a little under the weather, so we'll see if he makes it up there. So
nothing will get John healthier than a Friday night in Fayetteville after a basketball game. If I
true.
know John Neighbors, that'll get him feeling better.
And Nikki pointed this out earlier today that Arkansas is now selling beer in Budwell Arena. So this is a good pregame spot for a lot of you young bucks and people who want to partake in Dixon Street festivities tonight. Phil and I will not be drinking at the game because we don't want to get our credentials revoked or anything like that.
Well, if we're going to do that, you're not going to take. If you go purchase a beverage, you don't have to take it to the press area. There are plenty of other seats that the ushers actually aren't paying attention to. Who has a ticket?
I think I can hold out for 2 or 3 hours, however long the game is. Phil was joking with me earlier this week. I'm going to ask, after the press conference is over, I'm going to ask the media members, and you know that I'm more on the young side. We got a few young media members, but I'm more on the young side, 24, and I'm just going to ask. I got a decent relationship with some. Hey, Phil and I are going to go drink on Dixon if anyone want to join us. And Phil said, no, don't ask that. When Mike Kaywood, who's the basketball SID for Arkansas, last question, grab the mic and ask Eric Musselman, hey, Coach, Phil and I are going to go drink after this if you want to join us, because not only will he be asked a question, everyone in the area in the press conference room will hear that question, but it would also go across hitthatline.com, all the press conference videos that you'd see out there, and it would be an easy way in a matter of moments to get my press credential revoked, get my job revoked, and get a number of different things thrown.
I don't know if your job would be revoked. Look, I
don't think Tommy would be a fan of that.
If I think I know radio, isn't it supposed to be all exposure is good exposure as long as you're not breaking the law?
It's supposed to be a little. I've heard you're supposed to be a little edgy, and you're a little edgier than me because you got some age on me, a little more clout on me. So I feel like you can tote the line a little more than I can. I'm still a little passive aggressive when it comes to doing stuff like that, but. I'm just if you wanna ask Muss at the end of when Mike K would ask last question, if you wanna have the gall to do that, feel free. You can take my thunder. I'll be happy to, because I think it would be really funny coming from you.
Now, I was supposed to be on standby for tonight's broadcast if the network couldn't figure out a way to get Chuck to Baton Rouge the team football travels today to Baton Rouge. Chuck's doing the basketball game and then flying out tomorrow. I was on standby. I didn't find out until a few days ago that I wouldn't be doing the men's basketball game. But I figure, that's the time to ask the coach, right? At the end of the pregame interview, off the air, not while I'm recording it into my phone. What are you doing after the game, Moss?
Well, he's mentioned before that he's an emotional guy. He's excited. We've seen him rip off his shirt, not just take it off, but rip off his shirt. Big Nevada wins, whether it's NCAA tournament, conference championship, stuff like that. So I'm wondering, I think the only game that we could convince him to go out would be Kentucky on January 18th. I feel like that moment, if they were to somehow, some way win that game and Kentucky was in the top 10, I feel like you might be able to convince Muss and some of the staff, as well as the rest of the Arkansas fans at Budwell Arena, that Dixon Street might be a good destination that day.
Well, 1 hour after the tip that usually you get, so a late tip-off means a late post-game show, and it could be a very late night in Fayetteville. Brought to you today by Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren, and the year-end clearance sale continues. You can take your holiday stress away with a new or used RV at Breeden. They'll even let you pick your deal, your choice of either sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, or more for your trade. Whatever deal works best for you, that'll work best for Breeden RV as well. And, of course, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren on Alma Highway, also at BreedenRVs.com on the World Wide Web. Cherokee Casino Hotline open for you in the next couple of segments. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino Hotline. We're going to talk with Aaron Torres in a couple of segments, all about college basketball, college football, and we're visiting later on in the show with Colin Wilson, who covers college football at Action Network, talking gambling with him. Plus your calls. Stick around. Halftime back after this.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
You know, somebody actually texted into yesterday with a conspiracy that Jerry Jones is going to make sure that Urban Meyer is hired at Arkansas for 4 years, and then after 4 years, he's going to fire Jason Garrett at the Cowboys, and then he's going to make Urban Meyer the head coach of the Cowboys. And what's weird is I actually didn't totally think that that was the craziest thing I've ever heard when it comes to conspiracies.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Hi, I'm Serafin from La Huerta. Here we like everything caliente. We have daily, lunch, and dinner drink specials. Happy hour every day from 2 to 6. Check it out. Football and drink specials all season. Voted best of the best Mexican restaurant and best of the best margarita. We have over 15 TVs for your viewing pleasure. We have 4 locations to serve you, open 7 days a week. La Huertas, eat until you're hurt in Fort Smith. La Huertas.
Thank goodness that the fall season is upon us. And with this special time of year comes football, cooler weather, changing leaves, and free internet and phone service from Pinnacle Telecom. That's right. Switch your phone and internet service over to Pinnacle Telecom and get your first month free. Take advantage of Pinnacle Telecom's fast fiber internet and or hosted telephone service, and your first month's bill is on us. So let Pinnacle Telecom make your fall even better with this one-of-a-kind first month free promotion. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
Spring is in the air. Not in the house, Dalton. Okay, AJ. Aw, snap, I told you not in the house. Red Kool-Aid all over the white carpet. Mom and Dad are gonna... Okay, AJ. I can't believe it. We're so in trouble. I told you so.
Thank you for calling Service Master Clean. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Tanya, it's Dalton. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. Think Service Master Clean. Visit us online at smcleanonline.com.
Got a mystery stain on the carpet and the kids insist they don't know what it is? Or you're just ready to give the house a good spring cleaning? Call Service Master Clean at 646-4087. Call today for spring specials.
Service Master Clean. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. It's okay, AJ.
Hey, Fort Smith, the Hampton Inn by Hilton was ranked in the top 10 Hampton hotels in the U.S., and their devotion to top-notch hospitality shows. With complimentary Wi-Fi, a free hot breakfast, and all of the bells and whistles you would expect, this newly renovated hotel has it all. They offer Hilton's digital key technology, meeting spaces, an indoor pool, and sports court. Hampton Inn by Hilton gives you everything you need for business or leisure travel. Give them a call at 479-452-2000 and see for yourself why the Hampton Inn is Fort Smith's best hotel.
Hurry in now to the Black Friday sales event going on at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma. Get great deals all month long on 2019s and the all-new 2020s. Give us a try before you buy. And no standing in line is required because this sale is today and all through November. Get Black Friday sales event savings and have a holiday to remember. Go to buywilliams.com and check out their impressive inventory. Then go to Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma, where the Black Friday sales event is going on now.
O'Reilly. This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
67-66. Vandy's not going to call a timeout. We got an offensive foul. Saban Lee pushed off his 5th foul of the game, and Arkansas is going to get the ball with 8.2 to go.
Well, the poll question's out there. Do we get our drinks, our Coors Lights, more than anything else, expensed? Only if Arkansas beats South Dakota. Hogs are a 14.5-point favorite against the Yotes. So, Ty, do we need to put any extra qualifiers in this in order to get our beverages expensed by ESPN Arkansas? Do they need to win or do they need to cover? What do you think?
I think they just need to win.
Just need one more point than the Yotes.
By the way, my buddy Chris Hart reminded me yesterday that Arkansas is 4-0 against the spread so far this season. So not only are they 4-0 straight up, they're also 4-0 against the spread. What did you say the spread was again in tonight's game, buddy? 13
14 and a half is what I've got on. Okay. There's a couple lines that have it at 15, so give or take half a point, 14 and a half.
Okay. Yeah, so what do I always say? Good teams win, great teams cover. So we'll see what happens in tonight's ball game. If they can stretch it, that'd be great.
I tell you, if there was one sort of beverage that I would like to get expensed by ESPN Arkansas, it'd be an ice cold Silver Bullet.
Yeah, exactly right. World's most refreshing beer, cold lagered, cold filtered, cold package, always at the peak of freshness. It's got that cold activated can, so you know your beer's as cold as the Rockies. And Phil, when we go tonight and we're at the bar and we see the beer through the window frame of the refrigerator and we see that the mountains are blue, what are we going to do?
I'm going to shoot a 2.
Yeah, shoot a 2, go for 2, and it's probably going to be expense because they're going to win tonight. So just we can get as many as we want, right? See if Tommy can get convinced get on board on that.
As long as I can drag my butt to the bus to get to XNA tomorrow morning for the flight to California.
You think we can convince Chuck to go out, who has a 4 a.m. flight tomorrow?
I don't know when he does. I just know Chuck's an early riser. So my guess is he's heading back to the he's taking his butt to bed once the broadcast is done.
I would like to see Chuck's face for you to just ask him, hey, me, Ty, and some buddies are going out tonight. Would you like to go out before Baton Rouge? And he just kind of look at you a little bit, just kind of with the grin on his face and just shake his head.
He's got his work cut out for him tomorrow night. I mean, Chuck's got to try to find a way to make that football game sound interesting. Gosh, I mean, and I think Chuck is a consummate professional at whatever it is he does, and he's terrific at doing play-by-play. But to show, to go through these last 2 seasons of play-by-play and to continue to have that same, Chuck Barrett sound and the professionalism that goes along with it, I think it says a lot about how good he is at his job. But first things first, you got to take care of South Dakota. And you got a good team here. South Dakota 5-0. I mean, you might as well run through the shooting percentages again because they might be the best shooting team in the country. 20th in field goal percentage, 51.6%. 24th in the country at the foul line. They've made 86 of 109. That's 79%. And 47 three-pointers, an average of 9.5 per game. 51% behind the three-point line. And if you've even paid attention just a little bit over these last few days, the Yotes have the best three-point shooting percentage in the country. They've got a +7 rebounding margin. They don't turn it over all that much. Now, they don't force a lot of turnovers. This is one aspect that Eric Musselman did get into about them, that they don't take a lot of chances defensively. They're good on ball. They don't go after steals. They will not try to step into the passing lanes and intercept your pass, nor are they going to pressure you very much. So, you're going to have to work to get your good shots, and you're going to have to knock them down. So I think this is one of those games, Ty, that, a 4 for 20 from long range might not cut it. Because you get a team here in South Dakota that can score, and they've got 4 options of guys scoring over 10 points or more. A couple of them are guards. One of them is a forward, and then the 6', 10-inch center, Hagedorn, a 5th-year senior, is their leading scorer at 19.4 per game. He's coming off a double-double. He shoots well anywhere, 63% from the field, 84% behind the line, 81% of the foul line. And this Stanley, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, Umude, also can score 16.4 points per game. Best team Arkansas has faced. And honestly, it's the kind of team I think that probably could give, Arkansas's next opponent is Georgia Tech. I think South Dakota could probably give Tech a game. And then there's the aspect of the coaches that know each other here. What is his name? Todd Lee for South Dakota.
Coaching the CBA together.
Right. Well, they know each other from back in the days in Rapid City at the CBA. Musk told a story at the presser yesterday. Bob Holt was asking him about this story of his situation. Well, I think there were a couple. Bob asked him about a game that Musselman drew 2 technicals and was ejected, and then went up into the rafters or in the second level at wherever the arena was and was signaling down to the coaches, the plays that he wanted them to run, like pulling a Bobby Valentine of the dugout when Valentine wore a costume or at least a mustache on his face to try, so the umpires didn't realize it was him after he'd been ejected. And what was the other story that I heard him talk about? In the CBA, they didn't have working agreements with NBA teams, and it was really free-flowing. And he talked about having 60 to 65 players in 1 year as a head coach. And sometimes you didn't even know, if the guys who went to sleep in the hotel would be with you the next day. And a couple of them left for Europe out of the blue, and he had to play a suspended player.
He got a call at 4 a.m., I believe was the story. 3 of his top scorers went overseas or something. Yeah, I can't remember where it was. And so he, like you said, had to play that suspended player who had a really good game. But it's just wild, the sequence. And you think about the transfer portal in college basketball. Yes, it's pretty rampant, but it is not compared to D-League, G League, and then just CBA and some of these other leagues that coaches are constantly free-flowing, having to work and play different players because of just the how loose it is when it comes to moving on and going somewhere else, Phil.
Well, and what that shows for a coach is the ability to adjust to the players on your team. You have to work with what you have that day. And I think Eric Musselman has been a guy who's had to adjust many times, and this is just another instance of a point to show that this is a true coach in every word. He doesn't just have to stick to a certain system. He can adjust, and I think his days in the CBA prove that.
And one of the clips that you had me pull this morning, Phil, was talking about exactly that. And this is more speaking to the Arkansas players adjusting to Eric Musselman. And so far, he seems like he's pretty happy with the way they played on defense.
I've been stunned and shocked at their ability to execute detailed game plans. I really have been. At Nevada, it kind of built up over time. Our first year, we just spent so much time on defense that I kind of let the offense figure itself out because I knew we had to defend, and we stunk so bad offensively that I knew the only way we could survive is to try to defend. And but we're pretty detailed right now, 4 games in, offensively and defensively. We got a lot of plays in, got a lot of defensive schemes, and then you add in the scouting report. I've been shocked at how well they picked things up because I thought it would take till maybe a year into this thing when they really started understanding our terminology and stuff. They've been locked in. And
now, the offense hasn't been where you wanted it to be yet. That's pretty apparent. They have not adjusted, not necessarily so far. They've had 1 or 2 good games so far this season. The rest have just been But defensively, let's read these stats off again. Number 1 3-point percentage in college basketball defensively. Number 2, efficient field goal percentage on KenPom. Number 3, turnover efficiency. I think they're 6th in steal percentage. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, especially in his first year, Phil, that's phenomenal, man. It's one thing if he's got 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with some of these guys, but year 1, that's absolutely spectacular for what they've been doing there.
And they've had to do it in different ways each game, and so much of that goes to the scouting report. And I feel like, Mike Anderson often would say, our offense starts with our defense. A lot of coaches look at it that way. But how did Arkansas play defensively under Mike Anderson? Sometimes it just felt like, just running around chicken head cut off, in the backcourt trying to force
Controlled
things here and
chaos
there.
is what they call it, yeah.
But it didn't feel like it was necessarily tailored to stop the opponent. It was just, this is how we play defense. You feel like it's a little different right now. And, if Muss feels stunned and shocked that his team has bought into these scouting reports, to me it feels like you had some players that were thirsting for information on how to defend their opponent. I mean, this was something that Adriel Bailey and was it Mason Jones got into after the last game in the post-game press conference, which to me was a little bit surprising that the next game Mason Jones was on the bench quite a bit.
Yeah,
and Musselman did address that in the presser yesterday too.
Focus. Felt like he needed to be a little bit more focused on both ends of the floor and from defensive assignment stuff. And then the team's playing well. And so when you're playing well, sometimes you roll with those guys. Well, not sometimes. I'm always going to roll with whoever's playing well and whoever's playing with a ton of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. He'd love to play as many minutes as possible, which means 40 minutes. But he's been great. He and I talked yesterday after practice. And now that he's 4 games into his junior year, we need leadership from him, not just to be a good player. I think the next step in his progress is to become a leader.
Phil, we talked about how Mason said he's actually bought in defensively this year. If he's able to actually take this as constructive criticism rather than just a coach picking on him, which he's not, then this could be good. If you have that type of relationship with your players where you can do that and still be taken as a coach, you could be successful somewhere, Phil.
By the way, Mason Jones, 23 for 23 at the foul line. Now that I've said it, we'll see if he misses or if he's even listening to the show right now. Halftime brought to you by The Fence Man, and if you own a business that needs more security or more curb appeal, call The Fence Man. They've got a fence that can give you both. They've been doing it for over 40 years, and they know what they're doing. That's The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. Ask for Henry, The Fence Man, a division of Quantum Property Services. Our friend Aaron Torres from the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast joining Halftime next.
Hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
The biggest discounts ever during the Black Friday sales event at Harry Robinson's Salisaw Ford. 2019 Ford F-150 regular cab. The lowest price ever. Only $19,999. 2019 Ford Escape slashed to $23,750. And the 2019 Ford F-150 four-wheel drive Super Cab. Only $29,999. The biggest discounts ever during the Black Friday sales event at Harry Robinson's Salisaw Ford. 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisaw.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The second location for Whole Hog Cafe in Fort Smith is now open, located on the east side of town on Phoenix Avenue next to Dollar General and across from Interstate Batteries. Serving that award-winning Memphis-style barbecue and all your favorite sides Monday through Saturday, 11 till 8. Pickup orders for Whole Hog Cafe Phoenix Avenue can be placed at 646-2495 or at wholehogfortsmith.com. Whole Hog Cafe's second location on Phoenix Avenue is now open.
Keep your stuff yours. Would you spend less than $500 to secure your home? Guardtronic offers a home security package for only $425 and $19.95 a month. If an alarm goes off, Guardtronic makes the call to get you help 24/7, 365. Celebrating 60 years in business, Guardtronic is a family-owned business, now in the 3rd generation of folks who want to make sure your stuff stays yours. Call them today, 785-2323, or visit guardtronic.com. License E050.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Look your best with Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through covered drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
The Arkansas Razorbacks win it by a final count of 80-62 to maintain their top ranking in the polls. A day for celebration in Fayetteville and through all of Arkansas.
Our Hit That Line poll question for halftime today. Should Tommy Kraft expense our drinks if Arkansas wins tonight against South Dakota? Now, that's not the question I want to ask Aaron Torres. My question for our usual Friday guest here, since we like to be degenerate gamblers on our show, AT, what would be the more likely cover? Arkansas football, what's the line, 42.5 right now against LSU? Or Arkansas basketball, favored by 14.5 tonight against South Dakota?
Well, it's really interesting. I've kind of noticed this trend across college basketball where some of these teams that really haven't played anybody to this point, I think the players are starting to get bored. And like last night, UCLA, right down the road from me, lost to Hofstra. And so I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of, Arkansas is ready to play that better competition. But yeah, Phil, I would still take the basketball Hogs over the football Hogs. No disrespect, but listen, we always use these "please gamble responsibly" ads. Please gamble responsibly if you're betting on Arkansas tomorrow against LSU in football. Please.
Ty's using it as his money ball. He's been so sure all week when the line opened at LSU by 46. And the more I look at it now, I mean, LSU's got, I think, 3 starters that are sitting.
Divinity,
Delpit, and a couple of guys on the offensive line. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me that Arkansas football could cover.
A little load management for the LSU Tigers this weekend?
That's the going term these days, isn't it? But that's an NBA term. I hadn't heard that in college football yet, but I guess it makes sense this week with like 2/3 of the SEC playing FCS teams.
Well, and I'll tell you this, there's not Ohio State fans, but there are people that are convinced that Chase Young basically got a fancy load management gift from the NCAA here. Obviously, I know it's been a little bit of a story nationally, but if you're ever going to be the number 1 pick, it worked out about as well for him as possible. Used the first 7 or 8 games to establish himself, gets to kick his feet up and watch his team beat Rutgers and Maryland by about 1 billion points. And then he gets to come back for the big ones against Penn State, Michigan, and probably the Big Ten championship in a couple weeks. So, yeah, a little bit of fake load management going on in college football. It sounds like LSU's doing the same right now.
So I want to ask quick, we talk with you about Eric Musselman so much because you feel like more than any other media member we've had on this show, and maybe more than most other media members across the country who focus on college basketball, you have real insight into how he coaches, how he prepares, and it's the preparation of his players and the preparation that he, the detailed reports that he goes into living rooms with to sit with recruits and break their game down right in front of them in ways that they've never seen before. And we heard last week after Arkansas's win over, I think it was Montana, 2 holdovers from Mike Anderson's team, Adrian Bailey and Mason Jones, were talking about how they feel like they've never quite been prepared for an opponent the way that they are under Eric Musselman, and they feel that gives them an edge over most of their opponents.
Listen, I think it's a number of things. One, Muss is just a grinder, work ethic, all that stuff. 2, I actually think, the NBA background is a big deal. It's something I've talked to him about. It's something I think Ty will appreciate, having been in the building for the famous comeback win against Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament. I remember going into that year, and I didn't even know Coach Muss that well at the time, but I remember thinking, the fact that he was playing in a short turnaround, he was going to be able to play Cincinnati against Mick Cronin at the time, who was, a traditional college coach, and how, you hear some of these coaches complain in the NCAA tournament about a quick turnaround from, say, a, Thursday night game to a Saturday afternoon game, or a Friday night game to a Sunday afternoon game. And I remember thinking, Eric Musselman, with his NBA professional background, that's pretty par for the course. And so, listen, that doesn't work for everybody. I mean, we've seen some of these guys with more traditional NBA backgrounds crash and burn at the college level. But I think that is one thing that Coach Muss does well. One, I think his team is usually very prepared. Time is definitely not wasted within the walls of that building. But two, I also just think because of his unique background, having been a coach at the highest levels, and certainly in professional basketball where there's so many more games, I just think that really helps prepare when there is a short turnaround. Even this week, going from whatever it was, Tuesday or Wednesday to a Friday night game, I think that should help with this coaching staff in place.
Talking with Aaron Torres on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. He joins us every Friday. Aaron, I'm going to try and draw a line in comparison. I think Dan Mullen was really underappreciated in Starkville, like what he was able to do with Dak Prescott and some of those teams to get them where they were. And now it looks like that Joe Moorhead is struggling down there, could eventually be let go or go somewhere else. I know you've talked about this with Steve Alford struggling at Nevada so far this season. Does that speak to Alford's coaching acumen, or is that also an indictment of how good of a coach Eric Musselman was in his time in Reno?
Yeah, I got myself in a little hot water in Reno. I'm not really welcome there at this particular moment. Listen, I think in that particular case, it's a few things, and part of it is I live in L.A., I was around Steve Alford a lot, and really when Steve Alford was hired, my belief, Ty, was that it was more about trying to continue to build what they had already built. And so this is kind of the argument that I'm in with Nevada fans right now, which is you're coming off the best 3 seasons in program history. Listen, from their perspective, they don't like how Coach Musselman left. I don't know anyone who ever likes when a coach decides to leave your job for another job that's considered a better job. But my argument was hire from within. The analogy that I use is that nobody knew who Mark Few was when he got hired at Gonzaga, and not to say that any assistant on the staff would have been the next Mark Few, but I don't understand why you would want to tear down and completely rebuild off of the most successful run in program history. So that's really where this came from. I don't think that Nevada's struggles can necessarily directly be correlated to Coach Muss. They did lose all 5 starters, but I think, and that's what a Nevada fan is going to say right now. I would say they had a transfer sitting out who's good enough to play in the Pac-12. Their 6th man last year was one of their leading scorers, and then they had a kid who was actually a starter during that Sweet 16 season, Ty, who was missed last year with injury and is now back. So I bring that up because the cupboard isn't quite as bare as a Nevada fan would want to make you think. But I think that's part of I think that losing a guy the caliber of Coach Muss is going to impact things. It's why I thought they should have kept the other rest of the coaching staff in place. But as it remains, I don't think it's a direct apples to apples. You lose Muss, this is why you're struggling, but I do think it's definitely played a role for that team.
Hey, T, let me ask you one college football question.
Sure.
I think that Ohio State is going to trounce Penn State in Columbus this weekend. What are your thoughts on that game in about a minute or so?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things, Ty. There's one that's a real thing right now, which is this. I know you guys are playing LSU, and LSU obviously has a couple big games left, A&M, Georgia, and the SEC championship game. But the thing that stands out to me is this, is we talk about things like style points and eye test not mattering. I think this year it will, and I'll tell you why. It's because I think we all agree that there are 3 teams that are definitively better than everybody else in college football: LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and whoever you think is the best team is irrelevant. But I think for the first time maybe in the history of the college football playoff that I can remember, there is a distinct advantage to getting the number 1 seed as opposed to the 2 or the 3 seed. And so I think 2 things. One, I think Ohio State wants to start making statements to prove, hey, we're the best team in the country. I know LSU has an incredible resume, but look at that defense. We're the most complete team. And then, Ty, this is just totally something that is a little bit speculative, but there were some rumors floating around Columbus that maybe Penn State was the one that turned in Chase Young to the NCAA. This is all message board hearsay, but if there's any version of that's the truth or even speculation, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Day decided to send a message this weekend.
Boy, that's some good stuff there.
You like that, huh?
Like dropping that at the end of your interview. Thanks so much, man. We'll talk. I guess we won't talk next week. We have no show next week because Arkansas plays Mizzou. Have a great holiday, Aaron, and we'll talk in a couple weeks.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. We'll speak soon. Enjoy your holiday. Take care, guys.
Of course. That is Aaron Torres, Kentucky Sports Radio, Fox Sports Radio, and host of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. If you've never downloaded his podcast, it's really informative on both college football and basketball, and it is definitely worth a moment of your time. Halftime is brought to you, Ty, by our friends at Road Chevrolet. It is Yes-Vember.
Yes-Vember, best inventory they've had ever. Black Friday specials all month long. You got savings up to $13,000 off a new 2019 Silverado Z71. That's over 25% off. They have Blazers with up to $6,000 off. Road Chevrolet in Van Buren, exit 2A off I-540. They'll have the prices you love and the people you can trust. Road Chevrolet in Van Buren, find new roads.
Stay tuned. We've got a house that's available for sale in Fayetteville. Talk about that next.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. Your family of four could be on the way to Branson for the holidays. The Branson Convention and Visitors Bureau, HitThatLine.com, and ESPN Arkansas are giving away a holiday package, which includes 3-night stay at the Hilton of Branson, tickets to a Christmas show, North Pole Adventures at Shepherd of the Hills, Christmas music Ferris wheel ride at the Track Family Fun Parks, and food certificates. Register once daily through December 10th on HitThatLine.com, and you could be a winner. Must be 21 or over to register. Happy holidays from the Branson CVB, HitThatLine.com, and ESPN Arkansas.
Turn November into Yes-Vember at Road Chevrolet in Van Buren. Hi everyone, David Neal here inviting you to come see our best inventory yet. It's Black Friday all month long with savings up to $13,000 on a new 2019 Silverado Z71. That's over 25% off. We have new Chevrolet Blazers with up to $6,000 off. When it comes time to find your new vehicle, visit us at Road Chevrolet in Van Buren, exit 2A off of I-540. We have prices you'll love and people you can trust. Road Chevrolet, find new roads.
See dealer for details.
Fall is here, and at Frank Pro Furniture in November, now is the time to buy. Come in and take advantage of our many made-in-the-USA products. Lift chairs, we have them. Sectionals, reclining sofas, and loves, we have them. Bedroom furniture and mattresses, we have them. We also carry a variety of appliances and TVs. In November, come in and receive 10% off on any purchase. Ask us about our financing programs. We have several options that will meet your needs. Only at Frank Pro Furniture. Best seats in the house.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Being the family superhero is a tireless job, constantly defending against monsters in the closet and grass so tall it swallows small children. But who's there for them if you're not? your local Shelter Insurance agent. With an insurance superhero sidekick, you can find a life insurance plan that helps provide a safety net for your family. Learn more at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter agents Brandon Zimmerman or Chris Dooley about a free insurance review.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Joe from the top of the key just banked in a three-pointer. He banked it in from the top of the key. Hawks are up 22-19.
Hey, we'll take it, buddy. We will definitely take it.
Well, you got to love when Z's laughing during the play-by-play. Laughing season when it's basketball season 2. 8 o'clock tip, Arkansas, South Dakota. 7:30 airtime right here on ESPN Arkansas. All right, some news around Arkansas Razorbackville. Joe Lunardi right now has Arkansas as a 10 seed in his way too early bracketology, has them playing against Utah State. And then, of course, has them facing North Carolina in the second round. Why would they face anybody else?
Last 3 knockouts have been
right.
at the hands of North Carolina. 2008 after you beat Indiana and just got smacked by Tyler Hansbrough. Then you lost to was it Justin Jackson, Marcus Page, and then in 2015 at Jacksonville, and then the heartbreak loss to the eventual national champions in 2017. So.
And rest assured, Lunardi is he knows this. He knows this. He knows what he's doing when he puts these brackets together.
Can you imagine being matched up with them for a 4th straight time in the round of 32? I mean, it has to swing the other way eventually, right? I can't tell you a thing about North Carolina this year except that Cole Anthony might be the best point guard in college basketball as a true freshman, son of Greg Anthony, who played on the Knicks and UNLV. But outside of that, I can't tell you jack about the Tar Heels this year, Phil.
Baseball wrapped up the 2020 class for the 2021 season as the 3rd best recruiting class in the country, according to Baseball America and Perfect Game. 9 Arkansans. And, I mean, this program's got reach all over the country now. They've got one from Florida, one from California, a kid coming in from Long Island, Kansas City, Oklahoma, and 5 from Texas. That's right. If you are from Long Island, the G gets overpronounced. It's Long Island. Just like that. I knew plenty of people from Long Island back then. And they, that's how you say it. If you're a true Islander.
I mean, that's just pretty incredible that they are able to do. Like, just can you imagine the outbreak of this fan base if a coach signed the number 3 recruiting class in football? But now this is just, Phil, this is like almost an expectation. They had a better class in 2017 with Martin Opitz and those boys. That is absolutely a phenomenal job by Dave Van Horn and his staff that. This is almost the expectation now for Arkansas. It's just such a standard that they've established within that baseball program.
Well, and there's no doubt. I mean, Nate Thompson, who's not just the hitting coach but the recruiting coordinator, deserves a lot of kudos for that. Nate's a future head coach in college baseball, and Matt Hobbs, obviously the pitching coach, gets a lot of credit. And I think even Wes Johnson, from before he was hired by the Twins, he helped recruit some of these kids too. So. Baseball just keeps going, but while they are ranked with the 3rd best recruiting class in the country, it's the 2nd best in the SEC because Vanderbilt is ranked 1 spot ahead of them, and Texas was picked as the number 1 recruiting class in baseball. All right, soccer lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament, so their season comes to an end. Trailed 2-0 against NC State and did score with 2 minutes left and then had a chance as time expired, but a shot went just over the crossbar. So Colby Hale's team had a very successful year. SEC regular season champs, runners-up in the tournament, and then finished the year in the second round of the NCAA. 17 wins, 4 losses, and 2 Is it a tie in soccer or is it a draw in soccer? I think it's a tie, right?
I've used both. I think you're good on either or. So.
All right. Elsewhere, Jalen Williams has a big day tomorrow. Arkansas basketball looking for the big man from Fort Smith. He's a 4-star. Danny West said expected to have a commitment video sometime between 1 and 3 p.m. tomorrow. So you got Devontae Davis. You got Moses Moody. Chris Moore last week announced he's going to Auburn. Williams was visiting Auburn while Moore was making his announcement. But you have the feel that Jalen's going to be a Razorback.
You hope so. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to be paying attention to social media tomorrow from 1 to 3. If you look back to some of the commitments, whether it was Moses Moody via his Instagram, Chris Moore did it just publicly or whatever, and then I think the biggest one as of late had to have been Kelly Bryant's this past year when everyone got on Twitter at like 5:55, and he didn't release the video until like 6:10 or something like that, and people were like freaking out. But it's a big news for Arkansas tomorrow. I know we've talked about how Muss has gotten a good amount of guards, but you need some big men. Devontae Davis is a really good pick and roll guy. People love to play with him. He comes off ball screens and is just a playmaker. But in order to make that work, you got to have a big man who's the threat to shoot the ball, run to the rim, and Jalen Williams has the potential to be that perfect fit at 6'10", and then it can stretch the floor from shooting the three. You hope he ends up a Razorback tomorrow if you're Eric Musselman and his staff.
On a football note, earlier this morning, Dorian Gerald tweeted, "I'm back." I don't think he's available to play, at least not yet, but is able to work out and maybe even practice a little bit, so that it was a strained artery that kept him out from the first game of the year. And he was expected to miss the entire season, but has been cleared to at least work out, and that's good news. You'd expect Dorian Gerald might return for next season and get that medical red shirt, so that would be a nice piece to the defensive line.
You also wanted to point out that someone in the former head coach has put his house up for sale.
I was going to get into that in a moment here. So there is a house on the market that one Chad Morris lived in, or at least part of it. I don't know. And, Ruskin asked, and I think it's a legitimate question, like how many of these rooms did he actually go in during his tenure as the head coach at Arkansas? $3.799 million house. That's what it's listed for right now on Zillow. 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, over 13,590 square feet, and one of the most interesting. I mean, is this a mud room? Is it a pet washing area? Is it a laundry room with a kitchen mixed into it? This is one of the more interesting rooms I've ever seen. It's got a double washer dryer. It's got what looks like a miniature bathtub. It's got an island in the middle of the room that it looks like you could prepare food on or fold clothing, or maybe both at the same time. And then there's a large refrigerator in this room. So, I mean, in the photos on Zillow, this is a stunning house. I guess it should be. If it's $3.8 million, even an outdoor patio with a fireplace. So I mean, this looks like I'm ready to go house sit. To be honest, I'll get out of the batch pad. I'll sacrifice the batch pad and go house sit until the realtor's able to find a buyer for this incredibly lovely home.
Yeah, I would. I'll take you up on that, Kevin. Do you need help with house sitting, Phil? You think it's a big enough house where probably you need 2 people to watch over it? With all the different, you said 13 rooms? Is that what you said?
13 bathrooms. That's
wild.
I'm sorry, 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms.
Okay.
I was off by 2 bathrooms. I've never heard of a house with that many bathrooms.
Yeah, that's just wild to me. So
there's no way Chad Morris went into every room in this house during his time.
I'm curious if, regardless if the house is presentable and likable and stuff, do fans within the state of Arkansas boycott buying that house? Like,
I think you turned it into into an attraction, like a tourist attraction. I mean, I'm sure that the realtors vet the people that they're taking on house tours.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be the sort of house tour you want to go look through? You know, I mean, maybe it feels a little bit morbid that you're going. The reason you want to look at it is because the head coach gets fired.
It's okay. No, but Maybe he left something. Maybe he left a little memento or something left behind that you could dig up, Dr. Clue style or something.
Left behind a lot of points in that house.
Yeah.
I don't know if the family ever made it in there. It's just an odd setup, you know. I mean, the family stayed back in Dallas. I'm sure they came to Fayetteville here and now, but I mean, they still lived in Dallas.
So I think there's a lot of rumors and stuff that flying around. This is, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, this is my understanding of what was happening. Mrs. Paula and Chandler stayed back in Dallas. Mackenzie graduated from Texas A&M, was at grad school at Arkansas, and then was working in the recruiting office. So two of them, Mackenzie and Chad, were up here. And I think that Mrs. Paula, and again, I'm not 100% on this. That's why I'm asking if I'm correct. I think Mrs. Paula and Chandler were back in Dallas. I think that's how it was, but I'm not 100% on that. So you at least had two of them. And I know that when Chandler committed, everyone was really excited because they were all going to be in Fayetteville, but obviously that didn't come to fruition with Chad getting fired a little after halfway through the season. So
Get your bids ready. Get your bids ready. Also, score predictions for Arkansas LSU. Drew and Harrison says 58-3 in football, 62-44 in basketball. So he's calling for no cover in football, but a yes cover in basketball. We did get a text from the 918 that says they should set up a GoFundMe for halftime listener appreciation party with Coach Muss after each home win. His idea, and this texter didn't want any credit for a name or location or anything. It's a 918 text. Each listener must show a ticket stub and know the promo code from the show. I mean, so this sounds like a radio stunt, Ty, but one we could actually mix in with our Coors Light sponsorship, our Arkansas basketball talk. This could work.
I think we could get something going. That's a great idea out of the 918, Phil. We just got to start talking about it and get it worked out.
Cody in Mountain Home asks about basketball. You know, we're a smaller team this year. How far can shooting take us? Well, you know, and this team hasn't been shooting as many threes as I expected, but I do expect that they'll have to, facing some larger teams. I don't think they're necessarily
effective. Like, you can't go 4 for 20 like you were talking about earlier.
You can't have one of them. I mean, really, it's been 3 games in a row that Arkansas hasn't really shot the three so well. You can live defensively. I think it's some of the non-con teams, but this is a team that's going to have to score some points. They're just not going to be able to win games defensively game after game. Anyway, we'll get more into that in the second hour. Your calls and texts, 877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. Halftime back after this break.
We wish you happy holidays from Breeden RV in Van Buren, where the year-end clearance sale continues. The holidays can be stressful. Why not take that stress away with the newer used RV? We'll even jingle your bells by letting you pick your deal. Sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, more for your trade. You choose the deal that's best for you. Remember, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Thanks, Eddie. Come see us on Alma Highway in Van Buren or visit us on the web at BreedenRV.com.
See dealer for details.
Always get more at Orr.
The year-end clearance offers at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith are so big. It's like Black Friday meets Cyber Monday meets after Christmas sale. All rolled into one. Like 20% off new 2019 half-ton Silverados. That's 20% off all trim levels. Even if you want a high country model. Looking for a crossover SUV under 20 grand? Or Chevy's got them. The new 2019 Chevy Trax is clearance priced at $19,643. Or if you'd rather see big on a 2020 model, or Chevy is taking $6,000 off 2020 Chevy Equinoxes. Plus, with any new vehicle sold, or Chevy will give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So find new roads and save 20% off a 2019 Silverado today at the River Valley's favorite, or Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive under the giant American flag. All offers with approved financing through GMF. Surf or ChevyFS.com for more details. And remember,
you always get more at Orr.
The list of things I rely on is short. There's my recliner, the lawnmower, the kid sitter, and above all, Michelin tires. Get the tire that's ready to make every stop in every season. And for a limited time, get yours with a $70 reward card after submission when you buy a set of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. Your Michelin tires and savings are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith. See MichelinMan.com promo for complete details. Offer valid between 11/13/2019 and 12/13/2019. Void where prohibited.
Wave Rural Connect is bringing state-of-the-art fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. Get amazing fast fiber internet, 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for only $79.95 per month. TV packages from the basics to our amazing altered TV, starting at $32.95. Fiber phone services start at $29.95. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out if we are installing in your area, or call 1-833-4-WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Showers today, a few isolated thunderstorms tonight. An overnight low will drop down upper 30s north, mid-50s south. A much cooler day Friday with widespread showers. Our high temperatures upper 40s to low 50s. And then Saturday, lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures near 50. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
It's what I always listen to.
Hey, guys, enjoy your show. Out of all the sports programs in the state, I really enjoy y'all's most.
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
You
want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
10th hour of the show for the week. Second hour on a Friday. We are wrapping up our week before Thanksgiving week. And we appreciate you tuning in here. Phil Elson with Ty Richardson. Your calls and texts up to the top of the hour, although we do have a rare second hour guest joining us in about 30 minutes. Colin Wilson from the Action Network, a gambling specialist. Also an Arkansas graduate will be joining us. And I'm going to need to ask him about this kid who has hit. He's called Parlay Pats, a kid who hit a 15-leg parlay a month ago. How the heck do you go about doing something like that? How lucky or good? 15 parlay. That's something else. 15-leg parlay.
How much
for
money?
$239,000.
What'd he bet?
$1,800.
Wow.
That is some return upon investment, but I imagine it took a while for him to make his picks. I would hope it did.
So I believe we were talking to Bill Keene about this earlier this year, that our mutual friend Brad Powers out in Vegas bought Joe Burrow Heisman at, I think, 100 to 1. And now all the Vegas websites are trying to buy that ticket back there because, you know, they can buy it back for cheaper and pay him the whatever amount he owes before he could actually win the trophy. But he's got that locked up, right? Whatever amount he invested in that, I would think, unless Joe Burrow just collapses against Arkansas or A&M or the SEC championship or something, that's his trophy to lose.
So that's also one of the reasons I feel like, you know, we've had some people even tweet to us and text to us that they think that LSU's, you know, I mean, they're going to beat Arkansas, but they might not play their guys. And I know that they've got some starters that they're planning on either resting or are suspended. But Burrow's out there to throw touchdowns, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, and try to lock up that Heisman. Maybe he already has it locked up, but I mean, you don't lock up a Heisman by having a poor half and then sitting the second half. I have a feeling he's going to go out and have himself another pretty large game against a secondary that's been getting burned by even lesser quarterbacks.
Let's just say you'd much rather see Miles Brennan in there as soon as possible if you're an Arkansas fan, because the difference of them two is quite a decent gap. And I think that for Arkansas, I just don't – I think Arkansas is going to cover the 46. Now, I'm not touching I've had a few buddies that want to bet me on like the 43, 42, what it's gone down to. And I truly believe this game is going to be like 45 points. Like, I think it's going to be like 6 touchdowns and a field goal. That's why I'm like, I'm only doing the money ball if you give me the 46 line that we got earlier.
Like if you were at 42.5, you wouldn't be doing it, would you?
I would not bet it because I truly believe that it's going to be like a 40, like mid-40s type game. And even if I push, I don't feel as bad about pushing on the money ball. But I just can't see that football team beating Arkansas by 7 touchdowns. But again, this team's bad. We'll see what happens.
877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline, and we'll take your calls and texts up until 2 o'clock. JT in Hot Springs says, no one needs to buy Chad Morris's house. He needs to donate to the university as payment for how bad he cheated us. And yeah. I would say, at least that money stays in the state and stays in the area. And I'm sure, even how long was he head coach? Was it
since December 6th or 7th of 2017.
22 months. That's 22 months of mortgage payments. I'm sure a lot of that money already did make it into the tax coffers of Washington County. Bruce in Fort Smith asks, where does the basketball team hold Club Dub after their victories? He hears all the successful coaches have gone down this road. And, basketball is the total opposite. Like, weren't they getting – they were preparing for South Dakota minutes after the final buzzer against Texas Southern. I mean, you hear about – I've heard a lot of coaches say – Mike Neighbors says this to me quite a bit. We'll enjoy this win until midnight, and then we'll focus on so-and-so next opponent right at that point. They didn't even get to midnight to enjoy the win against Texas Southern because they moved right on to South Dakota. I mean, this team – there is no celebrating. There is no club whatsoever. There's club get ready for your next game.
Just think about that. Try and comprehend that for a sec. It's Eric Musselman's birthday. Of all the days that he can kind of be a little relaxed, kind of be a little loosey-goosey after win, yes, they had cup dates in the locker room, and yes, they had a little bit of a celebration. But, Phil, as you mentioned, they watched film of South Dakota. Like, between the time that we met with – I think it was Isaiah Joe, and I can't remember the other guy, and then Eric Musselman, they had watched film of South Dakota. It was like 20 minutes, maybe. So they probably did the birthday celebration speech or whatever, and then Muss popped right back in the ears. All right, we got to get ready for this game. Like, I can't imagine that. That's insane to me to think about. But one of the continuous themes you hear about this guy is he's a workaholic. Like, he is always talking basketball. He's always doing basketball. One of the things that Hunter Yurchak was fascinated with when he reached out to Eric Musselman through his agent is Muss got the interest. He started diagnosing every single one of the current players on the roster. Game film, told him what they could do, told him what they could bad. Like, imagine doing that just at the sure whim of, maybe I could be a candidate for this job. Maybe they would be interested in me. And he's spending like 12 hours researching these guys that aren't even on his roster currently. It's just a possibility. That's mind-blowing to me.
That's a coach's coach. If you feel like other coaches want to work for somebody like that, although there's probably a lot of pressure placed on them, because he said, talking about how they scout, every coach on the staff will scout, about 3 games apiece. And then they move on to the next coach to scout the next opponent. So there's a lot of trust involved in that. There's a lot of being, somebody that delineates jobs to your other coaches. It's not just all done by him. It seems like it's a little bit of a pressure-packed place to work, but at the same time, you feel like these coaches know Eric Musselman when they take the job. They know him very well. And they want to be around that kind of what's the term here? I mean, not over preparation, but maybe over preparation.
Yeah.
You want to feel over prepared for your opponent.
So one of my buddies, actually I have a couple buddies that are managers currently on the basketball team, and then also former managers. And when I was a junior and senior, we would go up to the practice facility and play pickup games like 8 or 9 at night. So when Muss comes in, takes the job, they're thinking they're still going to be able to do this, but you don't really do that if the coach is there. It's just kind of like a weird thing. My buddy's telling me that he, like, before Mrs. Danielle came down here and Mariah and his whole family, he was just there like all the time. He would like leave at 10 o'clock at night, get back there at 4 in the morning or something, so they they didn't ever have time to do it. And so now they can't do it anymore because he says they are always up there. Always. I mean, you've heard his workout regimen. He wakes up at 4 or 5 in the morning, goes to run for an hour or something. He's reading these different magazines, listening to podcasts. He actually has listened to Aaron Torres' podcast before. He's mentioned that to AT, but it's just wild, man. I can't fathom that type. And I feel like and maybe it's because I'm a millennial, I feel like I have a decent work ethic. Like, wake up, work out, just put in a decent amount of work for this radio station. But he takes his work ethic just comparably to a whole nother level. And that's just coaching in general. But that's the word around the profession, that this guy never stops. And if you're an Arkansas basketball fan and you hear that about your head coach, and that's not to belittle Anderson or anything, Phil, but it's to give credit to where credit was due with Eric Musselman. Be like, man, I mean, is there someone else that you, in terms of a work ethic perspective, is there anyone else that you'd want as the head coach based on what you've heard about this guy? I think it's few and far between.
Can't think of anybody that you'd like in the job other than the one you have there right now. 8 o'clock tip, Arkansas, South Dakota. 7:30 for the Learfield IMG pregame show. And then Arkansas goes on the road. They will play on the road at Georgia Tech on Monday, so kind of a quick turnaround before taking on the Rambling Wreck in Atlanta. Halftime, as always, brought to you by Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren. The year-end clearance sale continues, and they can take that holiday stress away with a new or used RV. Plus, you can pick your deal. Whatever works for you works for Breeden. Get your choice of either sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, or more for your trade. What works for you works for Breeden. And, of course, every new RV at Breeden comes with exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV and Power Sports. They're on Alma Highway in Van Buren and also on the web at BreedenRVs.com. We'll take your calls and texts up to the top of the hour. 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline. And we want your calls and texts in the next segment because we can't take one in 2 segments. We're talking gambling with Colin. So stay tuned for more Halftime after this.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
You know, somebody actually texted into yesterday with a conspiracy that Jerry Jones is going to make sure that Urban Meyer is hired at Arkansas for 4 years, and then after 4 years, he's going to fire Jason Garrett at the Cowboys, and then he's going to make Urban Meyer the head coach of the Cowboys. And what's weird is I actually didn't totally think that was the craziest thing I've ever heard when it comes to conspiracies.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Looking for a bit of cowboy flavor? Introducing Hardee's Southwest Patty Melt. A hearty sandwich with all the taste of the great American Southwest. We're talking a hotter, juicier, thick burger made with 100% black Angus beef, pepper jack cheese, zesty Santa Fe sauce, and enough pickled jalapenos to give it a kick. If it got any more authentic, we'd have to serve it with a cactus and a side of tumbleweeds. The Southwest Patty Melt. Now at Hardee's. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's. Hotter and juicier beef patty as compared to the Hardee's original beef patty.
This is Mark Hurst. Late fall and early winter are my favorite times of the year. High school football playoffs, time spent with my sons at deer camping in the duck blind, and the holiday season begins. November and December are also great times to take advantage of any remaining dental insurance benefits before the first of the year. Give us a call today at 474-1972 and let us help you maximize your remaining insurance benefits. Or if you don't have dental insurance, ask about our dental discount plan. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
Hurry in now to the Black Friday sales event going on at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma. Get great deals all month long on 2019s and the all-new 2020s. Give us a try before you buy. And no standing in line is required because this sale is today and all through November. Get Black Friday sales event savings and have a holiday to remember. Go to buywilliams.com and check out their impressive inventory. Then go to Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma, where the Black Friday sales event is going on now.
The list of things I rely on is short. There's my recliner, the lawnmower, the kid sitter, and above all, Michelin tires. Get the tire that's ready to make every stop in every season. And for a limited time, get yours with a $70 reward card after submission when you buy a set of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. Your Michelin tires and savings are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
See MichelinMan.com promo for complete details. Offer valid between 11/13/2019 and 12/13/2019. Void where prohibited.
Attention, Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Protection with possibilities. Have past losses made you cautious about taking on risk with your investments? Are you concerned that your savings are not generating the returns you need? If you are interested in protecting your money and capturing potential investment growth, contact Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors at 242-7466 or ufadvisors.net to see whether market-linked CDs may be the right solution for you.
Securities and advisory service offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA, SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
6 straight wins for the Arkansas Razorbacks, knocking on the door of the top 25. Final in Fort Collins.
Rolling along on this frigid and potentially wet Friday on Halftime. Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Your calls and texts throughout the next 45 minutes. 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline. Dorian Gerald did update his status after the initial update of his status. He does say that he is available to work out, but he will not play against LSU or Missouri. So means he wouldn't have played at all. He played the first game of the year, right? Portland State?
I think that's right.
Okay, so
it was
that's
either
it.
1 or 2 games, and then it was after that. So.
Yep, so you won't have him available on the defensive line, but it's, I mean, great to see that he's ready to work out. Took, it's about almost 3 months for recovery on what sounds like a pretty nasty injury, that strained artery. So Arkansas hasn't really been at full strength defensively without him throughout the year. LSU's not going to be full strength against Arkansas. They've got about a handful of starters that are sitting. We talked about it the other day. Michael Divinity is out and probably isn't even available until LSU, if they do play in the national championship game. Grant Delpit will not play. The outstanding safety, been dealing with an ankle injury, so a freshman, a true freshman, is going to start at safety instead. His first game action of the year, it's Maurice Hampton. So, I mean, what do? You lose one of the better defensive players in the SEC in Grant Delpit and add the number 1 player out of Tennessee in last year's class in Hampton, who's also ranked as the 14th best cornerback in the country in last year's class. And, oh, by the way, he plays for Paul Maneri's baseball team at LSU, so he's a 2-sport star. Will be interesting to see how he does against. We still don't know who's going to start a quarterback for Arkansas, but my money remains on KJ Jefferson, probably getting almost every snap.
I would just agree with you on that. I think the assumption, not only from Arkansas fans, but Ed Ogeron himself, is that KJ Jefferson is going to start. Now, you might see another guy or two, John Stephen Jones, I don't know. Like, no one actually knows to this point, but I think I'm with you, Phil, that KJ is probably going to get the majority of the snaps, but it's going to be a tough outing. I know that they're losing, I mean, particularly Divinity and Delpit. Delpit's one of the best safeties, if not the best safeties in college football. Divinity's not Devin White-esque, but he's pretty stinking close. So the fact that they have 2 of their best defensive players not going to be participating in this game could help out a little bit, but it's still LSU. It's still Death Valley, and it's at 9.
Got a text from Drake, and he asks, why do you think Lane Kiffin's name is mentioned for the Arkansas job, but you don't hear him mentioned for the Florida State job? Now, I'd seen somebody connect him as a viable candidate. They weren't connecting him to any interviews now or that anybody's reached out from Florida State to him, but it would seem to me that, I mean, I don't understand why he wouldn't be a viable candidate. I don't think there's anything going on in Florida where they won't hire somebody from any of the other schools inside the Sunshine State. It would seem to make a lot of sense. But it does seem that for the coaches that you think will be available from lower level programs, that Mike Norvell's at the top of the list and Lane Kiffin isn't quite at that level right now.
Yeah, that's a great question from Drake. I'm going to be honest, Phil. I've been trying to follow these coaching searches as much as I can, even outside the Arkansas one, because I think it's important to see what's going on with the other coaching searches outside of Arkansas, because I think those are going to have a big effect on what happens with this one. And I haven't seen anything to Florida State. I think, we saw the Football Scoot report. We reported that, yes, that Norvell seems to be interested in Florida State, and they seem to be interested in them. But I don't know, until it shakes out, we've talked about this, until it shakes out, it's really hard to believe anything that's out there with so many different agents pumping different stories. You have leaks out of athletic departments that are intended to be that way. It's just hard to actually believe what's coming out, not just at Arkansas, but any college campus pertaining to their football program when it comes to their head coach, Phil.
Well, and it also, we even got into that yesterday. You don't know what to believe. You see this report out of footballscoop.com connecting either a meeting or somebody reached out from Arkansas that spoke with Mike Norvell, and then you get the tweet from Wally Hall earlier this morning or late last night that Mike, and this is from Wally Hall, Mike Norvell has not met with Hunter Yurachek or anyone connected to the UA program. Apparently that was planted by someone close to him. He has not met with Yurachek or an Arkansas official. The website Football Scoop was apparently used by someone. So breaking news, a rumor site, which is what Football Scoop is, gets played by somebody to connect a coach to a university, and that's why you can't believe anything you read. You can't. It's Rumorville, and that's what coaching searches have turned into. Total Rumorville right now.
It's good radio. I'll say that, because people always seem to have a source, have an idea, have a pilot or someone they know in terms of plane tracking season. It's fun for us. I remember doing this show when they were looking for a basketball coach. It was wild, man, and it's kind of amped up a little bit because football's obviously got a little bit on basketball, and until they hire someone, people are going to keep questioning, keep asking, keep wondering who's going to be the next head football coach. And I think it's kind of like last time. You might not be a fan of the fact that you have no idea what's going on, but the end justifies the means with this coaching search. If Hunter Yurachek is able to get a worthwhile football coach that can actually bring Arkansas back to relevancy in the SEC West again, you don't care if the leaks didn't get out. You don't care if it was compact. You don't care if it was tight, because the end result is what you care about, an Arkansas football fan. That is what you should. And if you're frustrated about it, who cares? Because it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, doesn't it seem like that more often than not when it comes to like keeping stuff in-house, keeping stuff closer together, that there's more likely you're going to get a better situation out of that rather than a bunch of stuff flying off the hinges and all this stuff that you have no idea what's going on. And it doesn't seem like those coaching searches, those stuff similar to Tennessee, what happened with Tennessee, it's beneficial for a football program or any program for that matter.
Well, keeping things close to the vest definitely is a good way to go about it, and maybe at the same time earn the trust of some of the targets that you've zeroed in on. The names will be thrown out there. That's the thing, and you get people watching these. What is it called? Plane tracking season.
Plane tracking. Season.
Goodness gracious! People made a big deal out of apparently an airplane that was connected to the university flying to Salt Lake City. Either yesterday or the day before, and I'm sure Miss Lisa in Northeast Arkansas was all fired up if she heard about that, because she's thinking that's Kyle Whittingham. They're going to talk to Kyle Whittingham right now, and yeah, Salt Lake is where Arkansas was playing in the NCAA soccer tournament. So, that's exactly the reason why that plane took off for that area.
You mentioned the plane that you were just talking about with Salt Lake City. You remember the one that ended up was it Fran McCaffrey, Richard Pitino? They went to, I think, Minneapolis, Iowa City, maybe Nevada. Like at one point, I remember us talking about that on the show where it seemed like they were talking with several different candidates off one plane that you just assume Hunter Yurachek was on. I can't verify that 100%, but it's funny to imagine the scenarios. Like if you see something out of XNA or something like that, if I'm the U of A, I'm flying out of like Tulsa or something. No one's tracking Tulsa. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, there are people. They're crazy people that are tracking Tulsa. Come on, they're even tracking Little Rock. They're tracking Branson, for crying out loud. They're finding all of the departures from all of the nearby runways, even the smaller ones. But hey, I'll be at XNA tomorrow. Liftoff is 10 o'clock. So, who knows? Next Wednesday, we're flying to the Bahamas from, I think XNA. So now's the time I can finally be an investigative journalist, just like last year time when we were, where did we do the show from? I did the show from Drake. And it was right around the time that Hunter Yurachek was searching for a new basketball coach.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I saw was a plane land as we're doing the show, and I'm thinking, wow, this could be some breaking news. But nope, it was the flight that was taking Arkansas baseball to wherever we were headed that day. Don't pay attention to airplane taking off anywhere. That's some of the crazy stuff.
My ideal scenario for you in this show would be us doing it right before you're about to leave for a women's basketball game, and Hunter Yurachek walk in off a plane with a highly visible coach. He has no idea that you're happening to do the show that day out in XNA or Drakeville, and he just sees you and he's just petrified because you're literally talking on air, and he's clearly visibly walking in with a potential head coach candidate, and you're sitting there, you guys are eyes, you're gridlock, you're like,
I think I'd be just as petrified. I wouldn't know what to do at that point. That would be a conflict of interest if I've ever been involved in one.
Because I'd be obviously on FaceTime you, and I just see your eyes and your mouth lock up, and I just be like, is he looking at the potential head coach right now? Obviously, that's never going to happen in a million years, but that's my ideal scenario. That would maybe be the greatest thing ever to happen to halftime, Phil.
We've got an ideal scenario for you to head down to Branson during the holidays for an outstanding 3 nights, and you can get it for free thanks to the Branson Convention and Visitors Bureau. HitThatLine.com and ESPN Arkansas with this Branson getaway for the holidays that includes 3 nights at the Hilton Hotel, tickets to a Christmas show, the North Pole Adventure, Shepherd of the Hills, a Christmas music Ferris wheel ride from the Track Family Fun Park, and many Branson restaurant gift cards. In order to enter, just go to hitthatline.com. They'll just ask for your name, your email address, and your phone number. You got to be 21 or older to register, and the last day you can enter for this contest is December the 10th, and you can register once per day. Your family could be in Branson for the holidays thanks to the Branson CVB, hitthatline.com, and ESPN Arkansas. All right, so after the break, we are talking sports gambling with Arkansas graduate Colin Wilson. This guy had an engineering degree. We'll see how he engineers some wins for you after this on Halftime.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Save up to $2,700 or no interest for 5 years on a brand new Hot Springs hot tub from Burton Pools and Spas. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. The holiday sale is going on right now. Every hot tub in stock is on sale with over 60 luxury spas to choose from, and they start at just $26.95. Right now is the time. This includes delivery. cover, and startup chemicals. Stay warm and cozy this winter in your brand new hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas. It's the perfect gift for you and your family. And right now, up to $2,700 off or no interest for 5 years on a brand new Hot Springs hot tub. And as part of the holiday sale, check out the full line of Big Green eggs and accessories at Burton Pools and Spas. It's the holiday sale going on right now at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith, and always online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Kevin Hickey Law has a great team of people who are dedicated to your legal cares. Kevin Hickey's law team is made up of experienced, caring individuals centered around divorce, child and custody, DHS matters, and more, serving the Fort Smith area and Northwest Arkansas. Make the right decision. Call Kevin Hickey Law at 479-434-2414, and for Northwest Arkansas, 479-802-6560, or the web at kevinhickeylaw.com, where our clients are our main priority from start to finish. We can all use extra table space for holiday dinners. Stop at a Metters Lumber True Value for the 6-foot deluxe folding table at just $34.99. It's lightweight and easy to carry. It folds in half for easy storage and has a top that won't chip, peel, or stain. For extra seating, pick up one or more all-steel folding chairs too, just $13.99 each. Head over to Metters Lumber True Value for these bargains of the month and other great deals while supplies last.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Reed at the horn. No! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! The Hogs have upset them! 90-89 the final score. Arkansas survives.
Reno seems to be a running theme for today's program. That's pretty interesting because earlier in the show we talked a little bit of what's been going on at Nevada basketball with our friend Aaron Torres and the program that Eric Musselman left behind. Our next guest is an Arkansas graduate who is currently living in Reno and is covering college football for Action Network. You can follow them on Twitter at Action Network HQ. Also, they've got an app that will get you all of the picks that you're looking for and some advice for college football and all the other sports as far as gambling is concerned. It's Colin Wilson. Colin, thanks for coming on with us on the Cherokee Casino Hotline today. What's going on in Reno?
Not much. Just landed here in Nevada, and I listen. I just want everybody to know, like, radio stations bring all kinds of people in, but I'm a Bentonville High School graduate. I played in the 4A West. I went to the University of Arkansas. I'm a two-time graduate, so I'm one of us. I'm one of us in-state people, but I think I have a different point of view when it comes to who our next head coach should be, how Eric Musselman. The whole thing is like we look at Nevada basketball and how depleted they are. It feels like when Bobby Petrino would leave football places and they would be completely depleted of talent. So it's an interesting dynamic what's going on with Eric Musselman in Nevada.
Well, you say you've got a different perspective on like the coaching search for football at Arkansas. Yeah. Explain what you mean. What's your perspective and where are you coming from?
It's a really interesting angle with Arkansas because I graduated from Bentonville High School and I lived my entire life in Fayetteville or Bentonville. And the top two counties in Arkansas have always been predominantly, and I hate to bring politics into it, but it's true that 95% of the state is Democratic. And the top two counties in Northwest Arkansas are Republican. And I feel like there's a Mike Leach pull for the people that are leaning Republican, love guns, love Trump. That is what Mike Leach's politics are. And he's always wanted to be in a place where he could recruit Texas high school football. And Arkansas would be perfect for that because we've been trying to mend those fences since Brett Bielema thought that we could easily go and get recruits out of Florida just as fast as we can get them out of Texas, which is not true. You grew up in the state of Arkansas, you know that Texas is our blood. We have to have those kids out of the state of Texas. And so that kind of got ruined with Brett, but Mike Leach would bring that all back. I think there's another group that wants Lane Kiffin to come in because of the Monty Kiffin connections, because of what Monty Kiffin was able to do decades ago as a coordinator at Arkansas. And I think there's a big fan base that wants Norvell. But from the inside sources that I'm hearing about, there's something in Norvell's past why we passed on him the first time, why he's never gotten a Power 5 job.
Well, and there's also some ideas that he might, even if there is interest from Arkansas, that he's looking elsewhere as of right now. And, I think, the thing about Leach is he's never coached at a place that has resources like Arkansas, money and and facilities, and even in some cases recruiting footprint, because I think it's easier to recruit to Arkansas than it is to Texas Tech and to Washington State. It's a good point. What about Leach would frighten you away?
Nothing about Leach would frighten me away. I mean, as an individual handicapper and a person that bets and a person that went to Arkansas, I would have Mike Leach in. Listen, we're behind. LSU and Alabama have adopted big teams. They have sacrificed a little bit of defense. If you'll notice, Alabama is giving up explosive rushes, explosive passes. LSU is doing the same now. Ed Orgeron came out the other day. He's like, they were telling him, like, oh, man, you guys had 700 total yards against Ole Miss. He's like, well, yeah, but we gave up 600. So, we are the new Big 12. And if we don't adapt to that, we're going to be left behind. And the thing about the state of Arkansas is, and trust me, I'm a homegrown kid, so don't say, like, this guy's coming into my state and calling this stuff out. This is a true fact. Since the Springdale 5 came out in 2006, the state of Arkansas has not produced, and this includes Darren McFadden, Felix Jones. We have not produced 4 and 5 stars over the last 13, 15 years like we did in the mid-2000s and the early 2000s. I don't know what's going on with our development program inside the state of Arkansas, but we're just not producing the same kind of recruits anymore, which means we have to be better at out-of-state recruiting, which we haven't been. I think Mike Leach would be a great bridge. It's such a huge part of being a head coach of Arkansas. Dealing with the politics and the boosters is one thing, but we have got to get our pipeline to recruiting fixed.
Well, Colin, I'll tell you what the problem is. We have recruiting analysts all the time, and the better athletes in the state, they're playing basketball, man. That's why the basketball is fine, but the football's not.
Matt Jones did. I mean, how did you love going to Bud Walton Arena to see Matt Jones and Malik Monk playing basketball? They were good. They were really good, And you're right. I'm sorry, not Malik. Our wide receiver
Marcus,
years ago. Marcus. We've had so many good players come through the basketball program. And it's just the whole thing is like our best athletes. You're correct. They're playing basketball. They're not playing football these days, and it's just been some sort of epidemic that's been going on since the mid-2000s. I'm not trying to specifically point out the Springdale 5. It's been going on. I mean, we got Darren McFadden from the Little Rock area. We've been able to pull from the other side of the state. We've always owned the state of Arkansas, and we've always owned the borders, but we're not producing enough 5-star talent. We're not producing enough 4-star talent to keep Arkansas viable in SEC play.
Colin, I think is really interesting about your job, and I think on sports radio, and even those who focus on college football, I mean, we're focusing on the big games, LSU, Alabama, Iron Bowl, Penn State, Ohio State. But yet, and I love this tweet that you put out yesterday. You say, I have 17 bullet points in my notes about BYU UMass. So, I mean, you get to pay attention to all the games, but the trick for you is finding where the best value is, right?
Yeah, and it's all about the betting value, right? I mean, you have to treat it's fun to just bet on anything because it's fun to bet. Betting is a new thing. Maybe you're doing it on the side. Maybe your family doesn't know about it. Maybe your wife doesn't know about it. But that doesn't mean that you should do it degenerately. It means you should do it as an investment option. It means you should treat it as if you were working the stock market if you had a full-time job in New York, say. And I wish people would treat sports betting that way because teams are stocks, and they go up and they go down. There's going to be a time to buy Arkansas at some point, and there's going to be believe it or not, there's going to be a time to buy UMass. And with that game specifically, the UMass defense has gotten so out of hand. They're giving up so many points to everybody. But you have to turn around and look at what BYU is bringing in. BYU is flying from the Mountain Time Zone. BYU may start their fourth-string quarterback. BYU just played Senior Day. They have no interest in winning this game, or at least they just beat Idaho State 42-10. How are they going to cover a total of 70 when in their house on Senior Day they only scored 40 points? So there's just that game in general, that total I think is way too high for 70. I projected somewhere around 60, with BYU scoring about 50 of those points.
Talking with Colin Wilson of the Action Network here on Halftime. Colin, you and I were speaking a little bit during the break. What are your thoughts on Arkansas and LSU, man? You picking the over? You picking the under? who you taking when it comes to betting the money line or just the game itself?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under in this game. And, I think if you've just been paying attention to Arkansas football, you know that we've been off of a bye week. Barry Lunny Jr. comes in, and shout out to Barry Lunny Jr. From Southside High School. His dad and Barry Lunny Jr. were both at my former high school, Bentonville High School. So, I'm really pulling for us to at least show up the last two games. But that's the problem, is that our mission objective these last two games, brought down by our athletic director, Hunter Yurachek, is make the players feel like they love football again. You've put in no criteria against our players to win, produce, anything like that. So Barry Lunny Jr. has come out and said offensive play calling is going to be a collaborative event. That doesn't give me confidence that we're going to get into the end zone. When you look at things like we're 121st in red zone scoring percentage, we're 120th in getting touchdowns, we're in the red zone. We have a serious finishing drives problem. It's been that way all season. We have just as many touchdowns from Rakeem Boyd explosive plays than we do from actually getting down into the red zone. It's been a problem with John Stephen Jones. It's been a problem with KJ Jefferson. LSU, if you turn around, besides knocking on Arkansas and what we've done on offense, if you turn around and you look at LSU, they are under a lot of fire from their fan base, from their coaches. Dave Aranda, their defensive coordinator, has been getting knocked all week about this defense is just, not up to par of being a college football playoff team. And Dave Aranda has come out and said it's not X's and O's. It's not the stunts. It's not the blitzes. It is pure bad angles, bad routes to getting to the ball carrier, and it's been missed tackles. And all week, if you follow any of the beat reporters down at LSU, they have been focusing on tackling and taking the correct angle. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if LSU throws a shutout, maybe a slop, maybe a junk TD in the fourth quarter by Arkansas. But LSU has a supreme focus on their defense this week.
Colin, you nailed it. We really appreciate you joining us today. Let's do it again sometime.
Thank you very much, guys.
You got it. Colin Wilson on the Action Network. You can give him a follow on Twitter. He is at @Colin1, Colin with 2 L's. All right, cherry on the top of halftime. Our picks coming up next.
Agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Hi, it's David Neal with Road Chevrolet in Van Buren, where we are turning November into Yes-Vember. Come to Van Buren and see why Road Chevrolet is the place to buy your new vehicle. We have new 2019 Silverado Z71s with up to $13,000 off. That's over 25% off new Silverados. Only at Road Chevrolet in Van Buren. Visit roadchevy.com to see our full inventory. That's RHODES Chevy.com. Prices you'll love, people you can trust. Road Chevrolet in Van Buren. Find new roads.
See dealer for details.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Being the family superhero is a tireless job, constantly defending against skinned knees and sibling supervillains that won't share. But who's there for them if you're not? Your local Shelter Insurance agent. With an insurance superhero sidekick, you can find a life insurance plan that helps provide a safety net for your family. Find your insurance superhero at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter agents Marsha Cox or Phil Hicks about a free insurance review.
Have you been looking for your next place to call home and just haven't found the right one? Then it's time to check out the properties at Trinity Multifamily. With a variety of apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and houses, there is surely one to fit your needs. Whether it's in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that you are looking at, they have you covered. Give them a call today. Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing, and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Oh, Harris attacks. I told you. Hot sauce. Extra hot. Habanero.
Closing it out on this Friday on Halftime with a basketball game later tonight, 8 o'clock, 7:30 pregame. And then tomorrow it is a 6 o'clock kick, Arkansas LSU. 3 o'clock for the Learfield IMG pregame, 1 o'clock for Arkansas game day. Phil Elson and Ty Richardson taking you to the top of the hour. If you got a call or you got a pick for Arkansas LSU, or at least the score of Arkansas LSU, let us know at 877-377-6963, Cherokee Casino hotline, and we will take those texts up until the top of the hour break.
A couple good high school football games on tonight too, Phil.
I know. Drew in Harrison wants us to pick the Harrison PA game, which is a big one in the 5A, and I've got no pick on that game. I have no idea who's going to win this.
So Jamie and the guys will be doing Goblin Game Day before that game. It's a great set. They have like a college game day set. Have you seen the set that they have out there?
I've heard about this.
It's incredible. It's like a college game day type setup out there. But yeah, they're playing. Harrison.
Do they have a Lee Corso type put on a mascot head at the end of the show?
I don't know. We need to get Jamie or someone to do that, but. I think Harrison, I know we got a bunch of listeners in Harrison Mountain Home area. I think you guys are undefeated, right? I want to say they might be the number 1, number 2 in 5A. I was texting Lance earlier. Lance, or our sales manager here, one of my buddies, is a Win guy. Little Rock Christian's playing Win tonight, so that's an interesting matchup. I texted him, I was like, can we still be friends after this game? He said, yeah, sure, that's fine. So
that's nice. Drew in Harrison also says about the Arkansas coaching search. He doesn't think Lane Kiffin will leave FAU, and that's because he's in early retirement in Boca with little to no expectations, but maybe win 5 games. I think if you keep winning 5 games at FAU, they're going to let you go. But it seems to me he's got chances to win, 8 to 9, maybe 10 games a year. And Drew is with our last guest, Colin Wilson, wants Mike Leach as the next head coach, thinks he's going to be the best available option. So also Drew, he's been our most active texter today. Way to go, Drew. He says Harrison, he's in Harrison, so the Ghosts are number 2 in the 5A behind Little Rock Christian, and they are undefeated. Tell you what I would do, Ty, if I had one to give to him, and if we were in the same room right now, I would toss Drew and Harrison a nice cold silver bullet.
Good man, good man. It is the weekend. Beer Saturday mornings. Ice cold Coors Light. It's not going to get colder than this. Cold filtered, cold lagered, cold packaged. The peak of cold refreshment. When you go to your favorite bar this weekend, you go to your favorite gas station, get you some ice cold Coors Light. That's what Phil and I will be doing tonight after the Arkansas basketball game. Coors Light's always made to chill. And when the mountains are blue, you're supposed to do what?
You go for 2.
2. Coors Light, made to chill.
All right, let's get to the picks. Ty leads me in picks, 38-25. I picked up some ground last week, a little bit of ground. I'm down at Baker's dozen. I got a shot at this thing. Still have 1 week left in the regular season after this. Then the conference championship games. I guess we have to pick the Army-Navy game because that game stands alone. And then we got all the bowls, got our prop bets. I'm feeling a comeback, Ty, and I think it started last week.
I'm getting a little scared.
We'll see.
Not feeling good about this, especially since I'm going with the interesting Moneyball pick.
So I'm going to start with my former university, Indiana, and they've got the Michigan Wolverines in Bloomington tomorrow, and the Hoosiers are trying for their first 8-win season since 1993, which was the year before I arrived on campus at Indiana. These things seem to go together. I guess I was bad luck for Indiana football. It's too bad. Now Michigan's won 3 consecutive games by blowout. Both teams have lost at Penn State. In fact, Michigan and Indiana both lost to the Nittany Lions by 7 points. Now Michigan owns Indiana. I mean, owns them. They've won 23 consecutive games against the Hoosiers. And I think Michigan wins this game, but they're favored by 9.5 in Bloomington. I think Indiana covers 9.5. I'll go with the Hoos.
So I'm going to steal one of your lines that you often use in baseball, Oppo Taco, and I'm going Michigan in this game. They've mentioned, as you mentioned, they've won so many different games. 23 state. That just has to be concerning if you're an Indiana fan. And it's a close line, 9.5. I'm a little wary because I feel like Michigan can win this game. Michigan's played some pretty good football. They won their last 3 games by an average of 32 or so points. I'm hoping, because I think I picked Michigan once and they let me down earlier this year. I'm hoping Harbaugh doesn't let me down tomorrow. I'm taking the Wolverines, 9.5-point favorites in Bloomington.
So maybe Michigan's looking ahead to Ohio State. Maybe Indiana's looking ahead to Purdue. Do you know what Indiana and Purdue play for each year, Ty? Do you know the name of what they get?
I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it actually is called.
It's the Old Oaken Bucket.
Okay.
Doesn't that just get you fired up?
The Old Oaken Bucket. No, we were talking. Speaking of like trophies, do you see LSU left the Ole Miss, their rivalry trophy there for a little bit?
Isn't it called the Magnolia Bowl?
I think that's it. They eventually got it, but you know how players sometimes they'll run over to it and grab it like they've done with the boot, both LSU and Arkansas. They just kind of left it sitting there after the game for a little bit, which I thought was kind of funny.
Oh, Scott's coming at me with superstition. If I feel it was bad luck for Indiana, then that's a superstition. Look, Scott, Indiana football sucked before I got there. They sucked after I got there. I was just having a little fun with it. It is no superstition. I had no outcome whatsoever on Indiana football. I had more of an outcome on the fact that I went there for 2 years and didn't graduate from that school. Adam from Wynn says, watch out for those Yellow Jackets. They might sting y'all, Ty. So I didn't even remember when was the Yellow Jackets. There you go.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm a little worried. I think that game's at LRCA. And obviously, if they're number 1, then it'll be at LRCA. But Lance is going to dog me on Monday morning if Wynn wins that football game, so I got to hope they don't.
So I'm going to continue to ride the Oregon State Beavers. I've probably picked more Oregon State games than anybody in the country, unless they're covering Beavers football out there in Corvallis, Oregon. Oregon State is 4-0 on the road against the spread, and they're a 10.5-point underdog at Wazoo against Arkansas's next coach, Mike Leach. The Beavers aren't just 4-0 against the spread on the road. They've won their last 3 road games in conference, beating UCLA, Cal, and Arizona. Now get a load of this. The over-under is 76.5. That's too large of a line for me to go with, But this is Oregon State's got a lot to play for because, remember, they're trying for their first bowl in, I think it was like 8 or 9 years, if not longer. They get Oregon next week. They're not going to beat Oregon. Their best chance to make it to a bowl is tomorrow against Washington State. Oregon State, 10.5-point underdog. I'll take the Beavs.
Got a little chirping going on. Drew and Harrison texted on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He says, Wynn is the most overrated high school football team in Arkansas, and they play in the worst conference in the state. We haven't had much high school football trash talk on this show. I wouldn't mind kind of riling that up a little bit as we enter the high school playoffs. All right, my second pick, Oklahoma State, West Virginia. Austin Kendall is just not a good quarterback. He's thrown 10 picks this year. Okie State's 4-1 in their last 5 games on the road. And the Cowboys, they like to take advantage of interceptions. They're 14th in the country in INTs. I like the Cowboys and the Arkansas Waterfall to get that dub. 5.5-point favorites. They win in Morgantown this weekend.
All right, let's see. Got another one, and my Pitt Panthers are at Virginia Tech. This is the battle for second place in the ACC Coastal behind Virginia. Pitt also is a really good team on the road. They're 4-0 against the spread on the road. Virginia Tech at home, 2-4 against the spread. Virginia Tech's favored by 3.5, and I'll take the Pitt Panthers to cover. So I'm going with 3 underdogs so far.
Super dogs, as it like to say on College Game Day. All right, A&M at Georgia. I'm taking Georgia in this one. They're home favorites. I think Jimbo's kind of a fraud, basically. He has not done anything in his 2 years at Texas A&M, Phil. They're about to go 7-5 this year. Dude's making $7.5 million a year to coach college football. They have that plaque divvied out for when he supposedly wins the national championship. That's just not going to happen. First time Texas A&M travels down to Athens, Georgia, to play the Bulldogs since they've joined the SEC. I think Georgia takes care of A&M, and they look ready for the SEC championship coming up because they're just going to dog-pound Georgia Tech next week as well.
My money ball's Baylor, Texas, my friend.
Oh, which way you going?
Baylor has to just be heartbroken after what happened last week against Oklahoma. Texas is not a very good road team, and Baylor is a 5.5-point favorite. And they got a lot to play for with a shot to make it to the Big 12 championship game. I'm going to take the Bears. Baylor favored by 5.5. That's my only favorite that I'm picking, and it is my money ball.
So I thought about that. Baylor's lost their last 4 against Texas, and I think Sam Ehlinger's a great quarterback. I don't know. I didn't like the 5.5. It was like 2.5 or something, like a field goal, because I feel like it could go either way on that. But I think 5.5 was a little too big for me. But I hope they respond this weekend because my dad, my uncle, and my cousin were pretty heartbroken. All right, money ball time, Mr. Phil.
And you said this was going to be your money ball on Monday.
And I'm sticking to it. 46, Arkansas is going to cover this weekend. And I told Phil I was only going to take this if he let me get the 46. Because I don't trust the 42. I don't trust the 43. I think Arkansas somehow, some way loses by 45 this weekend. In Baton Rouge tomorrow night, they're going to cover, but they're not a great team.
With LSU sitting some of their starters and dealing with some injuries, I think Arkansas will cover it now, too. At the start of the week,
fraud!
42.5. Let me go with a pick of 49-13. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to go. Hey, your opinion can change throughout the week. If they don't have their best linebacker, if they don't have their best safety.
I haven't used my swear word. You've been bitching all week about how they're not going to cover.
If they're missing 2 of their offensive linemen, they're still going to crush Arkansas, but it's not going to be by 42. All right, have a great weekend. We'll talk with you on Monday.
The biggest discounts ever during the Black Friday sales event at Harry Robinson Buick.